Hello, Soul Spiralers. Welcome back to today's episode. Today, I have a very special man here with me, and it's not the first time he's been on the podcast, but it is the first time he's been on the podcast in this fashion. His name is Alex Tyson, and he is my partner of many years. How many? Eight and a half years. And he is the CEO of Foundspace, a health advocate, a fellow fasting initiate, a lover of all things natural, high vibe, and yeah, I don't know what else. And he's also an amazing and supportive partner, and I'm so grateful to have him in my life and very excited to have him on to share a little bit about himself.
Hello.
More so than us. Though I'm sure us will come up.
I'm sure it will at some stage.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, Alex.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling, right in this moment, I'm feeling a few things actually. I'm witnessing some guilt around something that's happening at the moment. I'm feeling good about the sunshine. I went out and did some work by the beach this morning for a couple of hours, and that was really nice. So, yeah.
Did you? I didn't know you went and worked by the
did,
beach.
whilst you were at Pilates.
Pilates and then
Bold Fit.
training.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of movement before 11 a.m.
It's a good amount.
I felt like I was out of the house for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good though. So.
Yeah.
It feels weird having you on the podcast in this way, where we're not just like riffing.
We can.
We're gonna riff.
Yeah.
So Alex, I want you to share about your story, and also one of the reasons why we decided to have you on the podcast at this point in time is that you have just released a book.
Yeah.
That you wrote yourself.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't released someone else's book before them.
You wrote it all by yourself.
I did.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. And so I feel like the two will go in tandem together. But do you want to tell us a little bit about your... Because maybe not everyone knows, like, the story of, like, how you came to be the owner of Foundspace and the path that you've been on with that experience, and also the path that you've been on with your health and what's inspired that. Would you like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Where to begin? I think if I really tuned into like the truth and what's coming through in this moment right now is for the last 13 years, health has been like understanding health and thinking about it, working on it, has been a significant part of my life. And when that initially started, I was like 13, and how the expression of health in my life at that time was I was just getting lectured by my mum about filtered water and eating cleanly and that sort of stuff. And it wasn't really until I was in my 20s, by the time which my parents had started an infrared sauna company, and I was involved in that sauna company. In fact, I was working full-time at that stage. It was only around kind of 21, 22 when I started to actually prioritize my health. Prior to that, it was KFC, drinking beers, who cares, you know. Which, as a side note, it's amazing how much shit you can put in your body at a young age and just be fine. This shows how much vitality we have, which often gets lost as we age. But I started fasting around 21, 22 with you. You know, we did our first juice fast together. And things just started to shift in my life and in our life. And life just, I don't know, each time we fasted, life just had a bit more depth to it. It's the only really way I can put it. And that culminated in 30-day fast on water in 2020, 21-day fast on water last year in the middle of the year, eating raw for strictly raw, I should add, for a year and a half, and now just eating some, still eating very cleanly, I guess is what I'm saying. And lots of infrared sauna in that time, and lots of drinking water, and lots of exercise, and lots of sunshine, and never enough sunshine. Meditation, developing my spirituality. Yeah, health's always been at the forefront of my day-to-day. I mean, my whole life right now is built around how do I address the fundamentals of health every single day, to the point where I'm not thinking about it anymore. It's there.
It's lived.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Even the type of home that we live in, there's lots of fresh air always through it. Like it's just part of, I don't need to go seeking that. I don't need to go seeking exercise because it's just built into the day, So, yeah, I guess that's kind of a brief overview. I mean, there's a lot more there, but that's kind of what led me to this point, I guess. And over that time, if I talk more about the sauna business, right from when we started that business when I was like 15, we were seeing sick people all the time. And they were always making the same mistakes. I learned through talking to my mum, sometimes talking to them. And they were always not addressing the fundamentals of their health. The fundamentals being hydration, movement, sleep, nutrition or food, whatever you want to call it. Managing stress, reducing stress in your life. I have that in there as a fundamental because you can be doing everything else right, but if you're stressed, it ain't going to work.
Yeah.
And having a good environment internally, through meditation and practicing important virtues that are important to yourself, and externally, the environment that you physically inhabit, where you spend your time. You work on those things, and having community, you work on those things and your quality of life improves. And the people that I was meeting through iHealth saunas back then were not addressing those fundamentals, and therefore, having not addressed those fundamentals for decades, they were in a state of ill health, chronic inflammation, chronic stress. They didn't have a lot of energy, and they were suffering because of it. And that was a real kicker for me to look after myself, because I was seeing the end result of not addressing those fundamentals every single day. And I didn't, to be honest, it was a fear. It was that deep fear of mortality that we all have. I didn't want to fucking die, with arthritis or something. This is horrible. I was lucky I got to see that, and we can talk to this more. I think there's really a blind spot in society where we don't see the end of life. I've even seen that in my dad. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. He now lives in a home. I don't see him. But if I had to live with him, and I did for a while whilst he had Alzheimer's, if I had to live with him every single day, man, you want a fucking reminder to look after yourself? It's heavy. We don't see that.
No.
Whenever our folks get old, our parents or our grandparents get old, they're at arm's length, if not more.
Yeah.
And they get put into a home and they get cared for. And so we don't see the last 10 or 15 years, which in Australia is the worst part of our life. Our lifespan is long, but our health span is short. And typically the last 10 to 15 years are spent in pretty poor health. We don't get to see that. So we don't join the dots of, that guy, yeah, he used to drink all the time and he never slept well. And he didn't exercise. And he didn't do anything about his heart disease that he was diagnosed with 5 years ago. Look at him. He's not having a very good time. Sorry, that sounds judgy. But you know what I mean? We don't get to join those dots. We don't get to see those last 10 years. So we just think we can keep doing what we're doing. But what we're doing and what we're programmed by mass culture to do doesn't lead us to a healthy end of life. In fact, it leads us to a poor state of health pretty quickly.
It almost supports a poor state of health. Even the fact that in our Western culture that we people go into homes, if you were living with your family all the way to the end, like they do in other countries, do you think that maybe you'd make changes? It's actually supportive to people being sick and then just forgetting about the fact that people get sick at that point in time.
Exactly. Exactly. From my experience, I and maybe I'm optimistic. I say that a lot, so I think I am optimistic. I think people would change their habits because it doesn't take much to to experience someone in a home, live with them for even like a few hours can be pretty jarring. But let's say it's days, weeks. If we weren't putting them into homes like in Eastern culture, you know, your grandparents grow old with you until they die, and you look after them because they're your family. Of course, you'd do that, right? If you go through that experience, it doesn't take much to then link that to the widely available science there is. Like, let's look at what their lifestyle was like, how they spent their time every single day. And you can link that to whatever it is they're suffering from, whether it's Alzheimer's, whether it's heart disease, whether it's diabetes, whether it's obesity, whatever, you know.
All those little choices.
Whether it's Parkinson's, like any of those kind of chronic diseases can be linked to their lifestyle. So I think if we were privy to that end of life, it would perhaps motivate us a little bit more. Because it's pretty jarring. Like you know, I spent a couple of years with Dad when he was pretty far gone. He couldn't, we both did. We couldn't speak, he couldn't speak sentences that made sense, you know, and
you get frustrated when you couldn't understand him. And
he get like the whole thing, you know, like he couldn't tie his shoes anymore, you know, he couldn't say your name even though he kind of probably knew what it was. He just his brain stopped working.
But you get the delight when he would come out with your name and you'd be like, oh, how did you even manage that?
Yeah. But for me, like, if that is like, that was enough, you know, but I was already on the journey by then.
Definitely.
But I was lucky to see these unwell people all the time when I was young.
Yeah.
So it motivated me to look after myself. So hopefully I don't end up like that.
Yeah, it's interesting, the flow on of like you witnessing that driving you to be like, how can I help people more and help people with their health? And then witnessing your father go through this experience that he's still within. Does it just drive you even more? Especially because you're like, you know, there's this whole thing that you and I have been talking about, this epigenetic stuff, and how people are like, oh, well, my dad had it, so I'm going to get it, sort of thing. How do you feel about that sort of thing, and how do you approach that, like maybe fear in the back of your mind?
I don't have any fear about that. You know, epigenetics has shown clearly that our gene expression changes depending on the environment.
Yeah.
Depending on the physical environment that our cells are in, and also depending on the mental environment. You know, our brain has amazing powers, and our thoughts will shape our epigenetics. If we're constantly stressed, yes, there's the physical side of, you know, cortisol being released in the system constantly, and adrenal fatigue, whatever, but there's also just the mental, like our brain puts off a wavelength. It puts off a frequency, and that affects our cells too. So depending on the environment that our cells are in will depend on their expression, on their genetic expression. Quite literally, you can turn on and turn off certain genes which are linked to cancer, for example, you know. So I actually think it's one of the great fallacies of Western medicine to make people believe that because their parents had something that they'll get it. Because it's just not the truth.
Yeah.
And there's this great saying that I love, and it's, why does obesity run in that family? Because no one runs in that family. Yeah,
if you make the same choices that your parents did and you live in the exact same environment, what are you setting yourself up for? The same experiences.
Exactly.
So is it your DNA, or is it just the fact that you live in the exact same life that you did?
That's
your
right.
Parents did.
And I'll be the first one to admit that I really don't or didn't want to grow up and be like my parents in so many ways. I think we've all felt that.
Yeah.
But if you really look at it, for a lot of people, they end up living very similar lives. And so because we're living this, I mean, we're programmed for especially those first 7 years. But even after that, you know, we still model and pattern people that we see and that we look up to. But in the first significant portion of our life, that's our parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so like even I still find myself after dinner, I'm like naturally going to, I want to go and like have a dessert. So always had that growing.
I don't
You don't have that.
Yeah, I don't even think of it. I think of like, let's make a cup of tea.
Yeah. That's the last thing I think of, you know,
Yeah.
because we never did that.
Yeah.
And so like that programming, there's still programming that exists, you know, and so we end up living very similar lives to our parents, which is why there is a link between if someone in your family has a certain disease, you know, it's not hard to link that their kids have often gotten it as well, and their kids because they're living the same lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like when you zoom out far enough, they kind of are, you know.
Yeah.
And it's lifestyle that impacts our state of health.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our state of health right in this moment, right now, is the sum of every single choice and decision we've made up until this point. So if you want to feel different to how you feel now, you need to do something differently.
Yeah.
Because the way that we interact with our food, what types of foods we're eating, how we move our body, how we hydrate, how we dehydrate, right? Being aware of that, how we sleep, how stressed we are, our work, like everything that we do equals how we feel in this moment. And like, you could also say this moment right now, but also like over a period of a week, like if you got that average, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we want to change how we're feeling, we need to change what we're doing.
Yeah.
And if we're doing what our parents do, we often end up with the similar challenges that our parents had.
What do you feel like are the biggest, well, maybe these are kind of the fundamentals, but like, what do you feel like are the biggest things that you have changed in your life to make you feel as good as you do right now?
I think, like, without doubt, nutrition, like the food, you are what you eat. And if you put shit in, you're going to get shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might not get shit out because you'll back yourself up. So I think that's been massive. I mean, moving to whole food plant-based was significant, cool, but eating mostly raw foods really had a massive shift.
Mm-hmm.
Fasting, obviously, you know, we've spoken about fasting before.
Mm-hmm.
But fasting isn't like, you can't just keep fasting, you know. It's like a reset. It's like unplugging the computer and plugging it back in again. But if you fast and then you continue to make the choices that you made prior to that, you're going to end up with the same problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you have to change your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to lifestyle, it's nutrition. And for me, I guess the other big moving piece there is like the mind. Really, like, spirituality means different things for different people, and God means different things for different people. But when I started to connect in, like when I started to meditate more and see that my thoughts are not me, they're just thoughts. And thoughts are just like other sensations in the body. You can notice them. But there's something, God, if you will, sits behind that and just notices that. And to me, that's spirit. And getting to that point really helped and still helps. And I've still got a fucking long way to go. But that helps with stress, and that just helps with like seeing the bigger picture sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And like understanding those, for me, like those virtues of unconditional love and humility and gratitude, that really changed my perception a lot. And again, I perhaps wouldn't have gotten there had I not fasted, but I got there. Still got a way to go, but that was really big. Like my kind of mindset changed, and I guess my heart opened through that experience. So I think those are the two big things. And the reason I talk about fundamentals is because they are fundamental. You know, I still get up every morning, I meditate for 20 minutes, and then I just exercise. You know, I was talking to a friend the other day. He's like, man, do you ever like book in a workout in the evening and then you just like trying to come up with excuses not to go during the day? I was like, yes, all the time. So that's why I work out first thing. It's like, it's not a question. I just move my body, you know. But again, all the fundamentals are important. I still make sure that I go out and get sunshine as often as I can. You know, I still make sure that I'm hydrating well. Still make sure I'm breathing fresh air, because all those things are important, you know, and I don't, some of them you can do, some of them you'll last longer without addressing them regularly than others. You know, you can't eat, like if you start eating really badly, you'll notice it quicker than if
you've been eating well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Whereas you can go a long time without sunshine.
Yeah.
And survive.
Yeah.
Before you'll really start to notice the effects of it.
Yeah.
But they're all equally important. That's why they're fundamentals. And I think also minimizing stress for myself is something that I've really worked on.
Yeah.
Still got a way to go. But, yeah, I'm in a different mindset to what I used to be. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what's the name of your book, Al?
The book is called Health Supercharged: How to Use Infrared Sauna and Shift Your Lifestyle to Become Healthier.
That's pretty much it, isn't it?
That's it, baby.
But it's talking about your story and addressing the fundamentals and then how to use sauna, yeah?
Yeah, so over my journey, I saw that from personal experience, but from working with clients, I saw that infrared sauna, because it addresses quite a few of the health fundamentals. When you start using infrared sauna regularly, it provided people a real platform to take their health to the next level. They'd been doing a few other things, but they just hadn't really felt like they'd kind of gotten it, if there's anything to get. But that's a whole esoteric podcast on its own. But yeah, so I saw how sauna really helped, and I saw with myself, it just like got me in the mood, in the groove of like looking after myself, prioritizing my health. And because it addresses cardiovascular health, it helps with stress, it helps with sleep, it can help with weight loss, it helps with hydration. Like we're addressing all these fundamentals we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
And so I saw through sauna, like sauna really got people going in the right direction with their health. However, it inspired them to look in other areas of their health to improve upon as well. Because here's the thing, right? If you ask someone like what it takes to be healthy, most people kind of know. Oh, you got to eat well, you got to exercise. Like, I mean, if you just do that, you're going to go a long way. The thing is, people don't do it for whatever reason. There's 1,000 reasons. And so the sauna actually got people in a place where they said, I'm like consciously, they were like, oh, I'm like feeling good from using the sauna. I'm doing something for my health. I've just spent all this money on this amazing product. I'm going to stop buying junk food. What do I need it for? You know, I'm going to start walking more.
And stop drinking alcohol.
Yeah, I'm going to stop drinking alcohol. Yeah, and so it was the catalyst for people to start to address other areas of their health. And so then I realized we need to educate on those other areas.
Yeah,
you know, that's what we do at Found Space. That's why education is so important, because then we start to build a ritual around addressing these fundamentals and using sauna every single day. That's where the magic happens. That's where people have drastic shifts in their quality of life. You know. And so the book is about how to use sauna and then understanding the fundamentals and how to integrate them into your day every single day. So you're addressing all of the fundamentals and you're having good sauna 3 or more times a week.
Nice.
That's what the book's about.
So let's dumb it down for some people. What is infrared sauna and how does it work? Because I know there'll be plenty of people that understand it, but then plenty of people that don't quite understand it, and you and I are living and breathing it all the time. Okay, so
how about this? You'll ask me a question. I'll answer it quite kind of simply, and then you can continue to be curious as a customer.
Do a role play.
Yeah. Well, kind of, yeah. Kind of, yeah.
So the first thing that most people I notice ask is like, what's the difference between an infrared sauna and a steam sauna? Or they think that you're talking about...
Yeah. Well, I guess let's go back to your question, like what is an infrared sauna?
Yeah.
At the very basic basis of it, it's a hot room where you sweat. Right? Now, the difference between an infrared sauna and a steam sauna is that in an infrared sauna, the heat, which is emitted from the heaters that are on the wall.
It's electric.
Yeah, it's electric. You plug it into a power point. That heat penetrates much more deeply than a normal steam sauna, which means you're sweating from deeper within your skin, and you're sweating more toxins out of the body. Because you're being heated more deeply, your body's also working naturally to cool itself. So you're increasing your cardiovascular output, which is why both infrared sauna and steam sauna has been shown to really help cardiovascular performance. In fact, there was a study done in Finland. 2,000 men were saunaing 3 times a week, and their likelihood of dying from cardiovascular disease was decreased by 47%, I think.
Yeah, wow.
So it was pretty significant. And because you're being heated more deeply from infrared than in a steam sauna, it's comfortable. You're in there at 48 degrees, 50 degrees. You're having a good sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Steam sauna, you're in there at 80 or 90 degrees.
It's more efficient sweat.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to take it as hot to still get like such good benefit.
It's more efficient from a power consumption perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say your body is running any more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wouldn't use that word, but that's the basis of it. It's a hot room where you sweat. You sweat from deeper within the skin than in a normal sauna, and it's more comfortable.
You don't need the water. You don't need the hot rocks. You just have the press of the button, and it heats up, and then you're on your way. Mm-hmm. And so,
and when you use sauna regularly, you get very relaxed.
What do you find? Well, what do you find most people choose to get an infrared sauna? You've said obviously like they're wanting to like improve their health, but what are the main triggers that you notice?
We surveyed our clients a few years ago, and unequivocally it came back that they wanted to reduce pain, they wanted to lose weight, and they wanted to sleep better. Mm-hmm. And that's what the sauna helped them do.
Yeah.
I think we could go a deeper level and say that sauna is really good for someone who it's important to be staying up with some of the latest science and technology to help achieve optimal levels of health. You know, infrared sauna is pretty cool tech, and your body loves it. Mm-hmm. You know, near infrared light's been shown to increase cell mitochondrial efficiency. You know, produce collagen in the skin. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't just walk outside and get that. You know, so for someone who wants to feel like they're in a bit more control of their health as well, sauna is an awesome tool.
Yeah. Because
you do build that ritual and you start to notice the benefits pretty quickly. I mean, you have sauna 3 or more times a week. After a week, you're going to notice your skin is softer and a bit clearer. After a few weeks, like, people will say to you, like, what have you been doing? Like, you're glowing, you know, because we're reducing the toxic burden on the body through sweating from deep within the skin.
Yeah.
You know, when I say you sweat from deep within the skin, what I'm saying is you actually sweat from the subcutaneous layer of the skin. And that's where our body stores heavy metals and toxins as a protective mechanism. And the only way to get them out is by fasting, right? Heavy metal detoxes and the likes, which pull it back into the bloodstream and put stress on the liver and on the kidneys.
Yeah.
Which is why we feel shit when we fast, because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But infrared sauna has been shown to help pull those heavy metals and toxins out by the skin. So when you're in the sauna, you're reducing the toxic burden within the body. So you start to feel better. You start to feel lighter. So it's great for like chronic fatigue syndrome, you know, often which there is a heavy metal issue. Component, probably the better word, within the body. And a sauna can help reduce that, which means the body doesn't have to work so hard all day just to deal with the heavy metal in the body, which is part of the reason people feel fatigued. Yeah. So, yeah, after a few weeks, people start to really notice, and they start saying, like, I'm just sleeping better. I didn't even expect that. You know, I've lost, like, it's just a bit less cellulite on my legs. Mm-hmm. You know, awesome. That's what sauna is for. You know, that's what it will really help with. You know, and just really give you that sense of, like, freedom in your health. Like, that you're really taking some steps towards the right direction because you are, you know. And like I said, there's all the benefits of cardiovascular improvements, you know, vasodilation and constriction of the blood. Is going to help with heart rate variability, you know, so it'll help with exercise. It'll help with heat conditioning. It'll help move the lactic acid out of the muscles after a workout. You know, it just addresses so many areas of our health. That's why infrared saunas are hot right now. Pun intended.
Yeah.
Like they just are. You know, people want them because they work.
What's been your favourite story or customer story that you've heard from using sauna?
Right when I started, I had to send out testimonials to our clients via post. Right, this was a while ago. And a lady filled one out and wrote it back. And her story was that she was diagnosed with polymyalgia rheumatica, which is one of the worst forms of chronic inflammation. So bad so that actually you seize up, like you can't move, and rigor mortis sets in. You know, the body thinks it's dead. She was sent home quite literally to finalize her affairs, get everything in order because she was going to die within 3 to 4 weeks. And one of her friends had recently purchased one of our saunas. And they said, Yvonne, I think you should give this a go. I've got arthritis. It's helped. What do you got to lose? So she did. She bought a sauna office. She lives in Adelaide in Australia. And after a week, she was noticing that her pain was subsiding. She could move her body more. That continued on for the following weeks. She went past the date where she was literally told by the doctor she was going to die. Months down the track, she could move her body fully. She's still alive today. You know, that was 8 years ago. And I just remember reading this. I mean, obviously at the time, it was only a few months after she had the sauna. But I remember reading this just being like, guys, like, is anyone getting this? Like, this lady's still alive because of our product. And that was a real moment for me, you know. On a subconscious level, part of me was like, you got to be involved in this, Alex. Like, we're doing something here. You know, a couple months later, I called my parents into a room and said, hey, I'm leaving uni. I want to come work here full time. And that was kind of where it all began, you know. So that's kind of a real significant story for me. I've heard of a lady who couldn't get out of bed each morning. She couldn't activate her legs. I can't remember the reason why. And after having our sauna for 4 or 5 months, she climbed a mountain, you know. But the real stories, like some of the stories that really resonate with me are just the simple ones, you know. I didn't realize that I was going to sleep better from using sauna, but that's all I've changed, and I'm sleeping more deeply. I love that because it's those little 1%ers that make the world of difference over a period of time. You know, like just like the fundamentals of health, they're just little 1%ers here and there. You get a little bit of motivation, you keep going. Over a 10-year period, it's a massive difference. Massive difference.
So those tiny choices.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And just those little wins, you know. And we need those little wins. Like psychologically, we have to have some little wins, you know, especially when it comes to health because it's hard to change habits and it's just not the easiest thing, especially like I find the dangerous place is not when we've got something drastically wrong, but when maybe we've got a symptom here or there, or maybe we don't have any symptoms at all. It's hard to like be motivated to make a change then.
Yeah, we almost need the big bang to take the action sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, well, as humans, we need that to motivate us, you know. As Tony Robbins says, if the pain of changing is greater than the current pain,
then you'll change.
No, then people won't change.
Oh, greater than.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's only when it's the other way around that we actually do anything about it.
Yeah.
And so for people where it's just like a little symptom here or there, I don't want to change my whole diet just because of that. No, I'll deal with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know? But
And
if you
that
keep not
adds up.
listening to those symptoms, it's going to end up something more drastic. Down the track, then they might get that big wake-up call.
They might get the Alzheimer's, the dementia,
Exactly.
the Parkinson's, whatever it is.
That's where I think like you get a bit of that, you get a lot of that pain if we experience people in the later stages of life.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it motivated me to look after myself early. Like I need to make the changes now, because it's going to be harder to change my habits when I'm 40.
Definitely.
So
tell me a little bit about, obviously some people might remember your business being called iHealth Saunas, and now you have become Found Space as of December 2021. Do you want to talk us through a little bit about that change and what your goals are?
Yeah, let's talk business. So right from when I got involved, I said to my lovely mum and dad, we're not selling saunas, guys. We're helping people with their health. And that's what I was into. I got involved because I read stories like Yvonne's in South Australia and wanted to be a part of that. You know, if my parents were selling roof tiles, I wouldn't have gotten involved. Well, at least that's what I tell myself. But, you know, we were really having an impact. And that's what excited me. So once I officially took over and started running the business, iHealth Saunas, in 2017, that was always the focus. How can we add more value to our clients on top of sauna? You know, and we did a bunch of things. But it ultimately came down to education. You know, how can we make getting healthy a fucking awesome experience? Excuse the French, but how do we make it so flippin' good that people are excited to do other things for their health because it might be just as good? So we started to really get people excited about sauna ownership. And we started to put out content to help people learn about the fundamentals of health whilst they're saunaing. You know, so for me, sauna was always at like the basis of what we did, but it's just the beginning, you know. And so we have a lot of products in development now, some that are starting to come out, like our smart sauna, for example, where we have a whole education portal in our application, which you can control the sauna from, because we know when people are using sauna, they want to educate themselves. And so it just got to the point where we couldn't be called iHealth Saunas anymore, because in a couple of years from now, we're going to be a lot more than that. Sauna is still going to be at the foundation of what we do. However, we want to help people change. You know, people who want to take another step in their health or in their life. That's what Found Space is for. You know, we quite literally create the space for people to be themselves and to achieve high levels of health and experience more in life. From the time that they call us to talk about what they think is a conversation around sauna, but really it's actually a conversation about what they're trying to achieve in their health and in their life. You know, we have people who end up crying to us over the phone because we're the first people that have actually listened to their problems in years, you know. And we're the space to do that. We're a safe space to do that. And we help people create space in their life for themselves and then therefore others, their friends, their family, because they've found a deeper connection with themselves. And quite literally, that's through sauna at the moment. And the time that people get in there is time that they don't otherwise have. And they put their health first and they start to feel a little bit better, and then they have a bigger cup to help other people. Definitely. You know? So it was time. It was really time for us to change from iHealth Saunas. And, you know, we've got some big goals, you know, and things that we're actively working on now. You know, we're opening in New Zealand in a couple months. We'll be opening in America at the start of 2023, you know. And I'm not just saying this pissing in the wind, like these things are happening. I couldn't even stop it if I wanted to, you know, like, because our purpose at Found Space is to create a healthier world. And however we do that, provided we do it, we're happy. And we've received so much feedback, you know, even in terms of our podcast, which is called Finding Space with Alex Tyson. Like, I have people email every couple of weeks now, like, this podcast has changed my life, you know, and I don't care if they never purchase a thing from us. If that is the truth, then we've succeeded.
Yeah.
You know, And I don't know, call it egotistical, but it was just got to the point where it's like, well, why limit? Like, we're doing something good here. So let's help as many people as we can around the world with what we have to offer. You know, so again, we quite literally, we needed a brand that could support that for us. You know, Health Saunas wasn't that brand, and Found Space is. So without getting too businessy, yeah, that's a bit of the insight behind it.
Yeah, and I really like that mention that you said that, you know, you used to always say to me, like, people choose sauna for this and this, and they notice these things with their health and their sleep and their pain and all that sort of things. But the thing that you used to always say after that, the next sentence, was that they've actually just found a chunk of time in the day for themselves that's uninterrupted, that's in a space where they're usually either meditating, focusing on themselves. They've found some actual space for themselves.
Yeah.
And so it kind of feels very, because I know you went through a whole process to come up with a name, but then it kind of feels like it's also coming back to address that like original line that you used to always say that you'd hear people giving the feedback on. So I think that's quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting, you know, the whole process of doing a rebrand for a business of our size is, yeah, I mean, I think about in business in general, you know, like, I guess to give everyone some context, you know, we have 25 full-time employees around Australia. We sold 1,300 saunas last year. You know, we're growing, and in a business our size, you know, we're not doing like 20 millions in revenue, but we're not a small business anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And there's always these moments in business where like a decision gets made and it's like a big decision. But from my experience, like those decisions always end up being made just like totally not in the setting you would imagine. Like you see big businesses and you're like, oh, they've done this. Well, they would have had like a panel of all these people working on it, and they would have worked through all this big process and whatever. And then, you know, they would have sat down and they would have assessed the options. And it's like, nah. Like at the end of the day, someone's just making the call on something. And, you know, we did a bunch of work on our names and everything like that, and went through this process. And then all of a sudden, like Found Space came out. That wasn't even one of the names we were working on. And we're just like, yeah, that's it. And then the next day we're just like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. It's done. Like there wasn't any big fanfare or anything like that. It was just like, yep, that's the name now. Cool. Let's go and rebrand an entire company. So I don't know. That's happened a lot. Like we put so much thought and effort into stuff, but sometimes things just kind of fall out of nowhere, and the decision gets made.
It catches
you know?
you by surprise.
Yeah,
as all true manifestation does. It feels neutral and it catches you by surprise.
Right. Yeah. You know, we have like a customer journey that our clients go through, and that journey consists of like catalyst, which is putting the sauna in their home, and then ritual. We help them build ritual around their health modalities through our education, through our sauna. And through that comes connection, when that clients feel connected in with themselves and then connect more with others. And I remember we kind of knew what that final piece was, but we were like trying to put a word on it. And then I was just like on a call with our head of marketing, and we're talking about something else. And then I was like, one of us were like, I think that last word's connection. And I'm like walking down the street, and there's like a dog doing a poo on the side of the road or something. And we're just like, yeah, that's it, you know. And now it's in all of our marketing. I really like that about business sometimes. Like it's not always so serious. It's like things happen at weird times, you know. Anyway, this is completely off topic. So yeah, Found Space was a real, yeah, I love it. I think it perfectly embodies what we do.
I think it suits you. It's kind of like you got married to the business and you took a new surname.
Yeah, I mean,
like before, I know you were like very like you were there. You were already like looking. You were the business, but it's like you like committed in a new way and you took a new surname.
I mean, I think I need to point out that I'm bought into the business, but I am not the business. Like we have an amazing, incredible team who frankly are just awesome, you know, and completely look after our
I meant
customers.
the leader of the
support
of
our
the
brand.
pack.
Yeah, fearless leader sometimes. Okay, cool. But yeah, you know, I think if you want to, from my experience, if you want to be successful in business, you got to sacrifice a lot, and you got to fucking love that thing like it is your family.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it ain't gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So yes, I was already kind of very well. I was as committed as you could be. But
I mean,
like,
we're not
I
married, and
like
you're
it.
pretty committed to me.
Yeah, there's a bit of a theme going on here. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's been fun, and again, it's all on the back of helping people with their health.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do.
I've got some questions for you.
Oh, all right.
You get to have the questions.
Let's go.
What is your sun sign, your moon, and your rising? You know it.
Oh, my sun sign
Yeah.
is Taurus.
Yes.
I can't remember the others.
They're the same. Shouldn't be that hard to remember. Your moon and your rising.
Uh,
For you, they're the same. It's a
Cancer.
yes. That's
Thank
why
you.
you see crabs everywhere.
I feel like I've just assimilated that information now. So my
So your moon
my ascendant
and your ascendant
and my are both Cancer.
are both Cancer. Ascendant also gets called rising because it's what sign was on the horizon
yeah.
when you were born.
Yeah.
So Cancer for both of those.
Right.
Easy. You don't have to remember anything.
Is that
else.
related? Is the rising related to a planet?
No.
Okay. Cool.
But then there's all the other planets.
So my rising
Yeah.
is Cancer.
Cancer.
My sun sign is Taurus.
Yes.
And my moon sign is Cancer as well.
There you go.
Mm.
Very good. Do you know your human design?
I'm a manifesting generator.
You are. You're very much a manifesting
Yeah.
generator.
Which I actually love because ever since I started learning about human design, which I don't know much, I really realized that that is the case and that not everyone can just create shit. yeah, exactly.
We're pointing at the other person in the room here.
That's right.
I need a bit more time to ruminate.
Yeah. And which was actually really handy for me because for so long...
You're like, why can't you just decide the thing, Kristin, and do it right now?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
I mean, we can get started on that now and you'll have it very quickly. But
You've
not
also
everyone's
got
like that.
your Venus in Aries, which is about manifesting as well. And Aries is the youngest sign in the zodiac. And maybe we
Right.
just point out that my Venus is in Pisces, which is the oldest sign in the zodiac.
Yeah, exactly.
The fastest and the slowest.
Yeah. So, which is why we make such a good team. But yeah, it was actually really helpful because it just gave me a bit of insight. Because at work, oftentimes I would be challenged by people who aren't just like, okay, that's what we're going to do, and then start at the next moment, and then start to see progress the day after.
Yeah.
But not everyone's like that.
Yeah. You are a Taurus. You're very Taurian as well.
Yeah,
You see the thing, you've got the blinders on, you're going for the prize.
exactly. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what gets in the way, it's getting bulldozed out.
Yes. Yes.
What's your favorite fruit?
Papaya. Unquestionably.
Yeah.
It just is.
I feel like mine's changed recently.
To what? Pineapple.
Pineapple.
Yeah.
Like, I won't, if I've got a good pineapple, I will take the pineapple. Like,
Yeah,
I just want to eat the pineapple.
So maybe...
But if I was living in a place where there was amazing papayas all the time, I feel like I would feel different. But papayas in like a tropical location are just not the same as they are here.
That's true.
And pineapples here are amazing.
It's true.
Well, they have been.
So maybe... How can you tell if it's your favorite fruit? Like, if I had a pineapple and next to it I had...
Papaya?
No. I had, like, Musan King.
Durian, you mean?
Yeah.
What would you pick? I'd probably pick the durian.
Yeah, you would, but you wouldn't pick it every day.
No.
You'd
I'd
get
pick
over
the
it.
pineapple every day.
Yeah.
You wouldn't pick the pineapple every day because your mouth would be dead.
Well, if it was good pineapple, I would. But I'd still go papaya. You have papaya and
If it was a good papaya, I'd pick papaya. But it's just been hit and miss, and it frustrates me. So I just don't commit myself to the expectation, and just like the pineapple, you never know. So I never have the expectation.
So maybe expectation is the problem here.
Yeah, maybe.
Expectations are the thief of joy.
Maybe I would like to eat a papaya today, though.
Yeah, well...
Do you want to cut one up for me?
Maybe. I don't think they're ready, to be honest.
Damn.
But, yeah, no,
See,
papaya...
this is always the problem.
For me, like, when... They're just... Yeah, anyway. Next question.
They're a queen. If you could return to one moment in your life and re-experience it again...
As it happened.
Yep, just re-experience it again. what moment would you return to? I feel like I've asked you this question once before in conversation and I remember vaguely what your answer is, so I'm curious to see if it's a different answer that's coming through right now.
I think it is because nothing is immediately jumping. The first thing that jumped to mind, like my first response in this moment, was actually if I could pinpoint a time when I could have a conversation with Dad.
That's what I remember you speaking.
Oh, okay, there you go.
There
I'm
you go.
consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could pick a time where I could just like...
I think you were talking about when you used to go for a drive and you'd go for a burger.
Yeah.
That.
No, you know what, actually? If I could pick one moment, it would be the last time that Dad and I ate in... I can't remember the exact name, something Moon restaurant in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Super fancy restaurant. And he had... we'd ordered our food and we'd ordered
He had like
drinks.
6 drinks or something, didn't he?
He had a glass of water,
Yeah.
a beer, a glass of white wine, and a glass of red wine all in front of him. Totally in his element. Just loving it.
Now we can see where the problem begins.
But, you know, I was just like, yeah, I'm fucking having lunch with my dad in Hong Kong. Big deal.
Mm-hmm. And you don't realize it, like, years to come, you'll be like, that's actually a treasured moment that I should have savored more.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't regret it.
No regrets, but it's that reminder, like, how can you be present and savor this moment? Because who knows what tomorrow brings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and be present. I can tell you with confidence, I was not present then.
You're probably texting me.
I probably was. Yeah. Or I was probably annoyed that I couldn't text you because we weren't on Wi-Fi or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd probably go back to that moment and relive it. And I would indulgently enjoy eating the duck. Because at the time I wasn't vegan and I wasn't aware of that. And I loved, what do they call it? Peking duck. Yeah.
Duck.
And the guy come and makes it for you. It was very nice.
I've definitely heard that one.
Yeah.
Forest or ocean?
Forest.
Ah, you surprised me. I thought you were going to choose ocean. I think you've realised more so recently that you are forest though. Like you want the ocean nearby, but you want to be in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to pick one or the other. You'd pick the forest.
I'd pick forest, yeah.
Ah.
There you go.
There we go. We were better paired than I thought. What plant or flower or like herb are you working with the most or do you connect with the most at the moment? Besides the chamomile tea last night.
Oh, geez, that did things, I tell you. Good question. Hemp seeds.
Not cacao?
No, because although I mean, I haven't had cacao this week, but for the kind of almost 2 weeks prior to that, I was having cacao.
And what does the plant of hemp have to tell you?
That I don't actually need to keep eating it.
So maybe that's not the kind of answer that I was looking for.
What was the question again?
What
herb am I...
plant or flower like are you working with? This is not just like physically, but it's like the energy of it.
I thought I'd go the physical route because that's kind of I'm having that consistently. Like that's what actual plant I'm consuming consistently.
Actually, you know what's coming up a lot for us both at the moment?
Yeah.
Ginger.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd actually say ginger. You've been putting ginger in things.
Yeah, I mean, if I could make that question my own a bit because I don't because I'm a Taurus.
Because I need to be right.
No, because I don't drink a lot of tea and I'm not actively working with a bush flower essence, for example, or a herb, right? Yeah. So then I think about, well, what ways am I interacting with plants?
Yeah.
And so then I think about what are the kind of things which I've intuited that I want to have at the moment. And ginger is one of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Hemp seeds a little bit, not so much. And I don't know about the properties of mustard seeds, but I've been drawn to
mustard. Maybe we need to get some mustard greens.
Yeah.
We did get some the other week, but then they didn't.
Anyway, I know that's not the answer you're after, but...
What's your favourite crystal?
Clear quartz.
Why?
Clarity is always something that I've really valued. And
We have a lot of clear quartz in this house also.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have
Everywhere you look.
I have a fair bit in my working space, and I've just always connected in with clear quartz. The other crystals I have connected with over the journey has been orange calcite.
That was like the first crystal you connected with, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I connected in with lapis lazuli for a while as well. But admittedly, I haven't been wearing crystals for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
I've been connecting in with gold, actually.
The energy of
Yeah,
purity.
the energy. Yeah,
Maybe there's like in the lapis as well. You get the gold.
Mm.
If you're an animal, what would you be? Or what's your spirit animal?
I feel like there's multiple answers to this depending on my mood.
Okay, well, talk us through a few.
Sometimes I feel like kind of wolf vibes.
You're a loner.
Well, like comfortable on your own,
Yeah.
but you're also in a wolf pack.
Yeah.
But also like kind of fierce, but can tread lightly.
Yeah. I was thinking more like lion because I could imagine that sort of similar energy, but then you love laying in the sun.
Yeah. The lion's also one of them. And sometimes hawk energy I connect in with. Like soaring quite high in the air.
I see the hawk probably.
Yeah, but then can go down and get that mouse all the way down there if it has to.
Got the macro view happening.
Yeah. But also the ability to go micro if it has to.
What animal do you think I would embody? Like, what if I was an animal?
I don't know why whenever you ask me that, I just think of the fish.
Well, I was thinking a dolphin.
Yeah, some sort of aquatic creature, I think.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that, like, aquatic, but
I don't know, it's something.
I have a reverence for water.
Yeah.
Like, I was having a tea yesterday, and I was like, if we did not have water, like, our planet is water-based. Like, water is everything. Like, I just have these realizations when I'm drinking tea. I'm just like, fucking water? Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like, I have this, like, deep gratitude and, like, these epiphanies about, like, water.
It's pretty important.
Come through.
Yeah.
It definitely always happens.
Yeah.
So, if anyone wants to buy your book, what's the best place to find that? You got it on Amazon, yeah?
So search Health Supercharged on Amazon.
Yep.
It's bright red. You won't be able to miss it.
And it's by Alex Tyson.
By Alex Tyson, yeah. You can find out more about me at alextyson.com.au. And if you want to learn more about infrared sauna, you can head to Found Space. Found as in I found that on the ground. Space as in outer space. .com.au. Or you can follow us on Instagram at found__space. AU, I think. You'll find it.
No, I think it's just found space.
Yeah, cool.
Found
Found__space.
Yes.
And yeah, or you can reach out to me on my own personal Instagram at AlexTyson37. I'd be happy to chat about health, about life, about business, and everything in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe someone could school me a bit more on the zodiac and the signs.
I've tried.
Yeah. What I was really saying there is maybe don't ask me questions about those things because that's not my area of expertise.
We go to Maxine.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I hope this has been helpful and somewhat insightful. I hope there's been some nuggets of wisdom in there.
Me too.
And truly,
I think there have been. It's been good.
And truly from the bottom of my heart, if you do want to have a conversation about health, get in touch. And I hope maybe some of the things that we've spoken about today have helped, because if it has just helped one person improve their quality of life 1%, then I feel like my mission is complete. So
complete.
And
you can go back to your original planet. Bye-bye. We'll
Thank
crack you up.
Bye.
Send you home. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Now we're just saying little colloquialisms that we say together. What's... Okay. Bye.
Oh my God.